He came into town on a cold, dry wind, kicking up dust and blowing sand. The sun dimmed for a moment that day. The howling wind seemed to say, "He has the look of a dangerous man." His eyes were hot and black as ash, glaring at those whom he passed, a gun at his hip and a hidden knife. Surely he ended countless lives. Whispers rose like the hiss of snakes. It's plain to see, anyone can, he must be a dangerous man. Not a word he spoke as he came through town, his mouth twisted in a constant frown. His footsteps echoed in an empty street. The locals hid when he came around. They closed windows with a teeny creak, trying to avoid the dangerous man. He checked the inn where he planned to stay. The keeper shivered from his gaze. The man paid up front and spoke no words that betray the thoughts of a dangerous man. The locals gathered around and spoke in fear. The sheriff ran to grab his gear. The pastor called out to his God. They wailed and cried out for a plan. "Save us from this dangerous man." A young man named Johnny held his girl as she trembled and shook with fear. "If you are a man, you'll confront him, dear, to save me from the dangerous man." So he grabbed his knife and found the inn. He snuck into a darkened room and creeped to prepare his mortal sin. When the bed he had in sight, he stabbed the body 20 times, but when he turned on the light, it was not the dangerous man. He shook and screamed in his fright. He had killed a man without a fight. A crowd was coming, no room for flight, fearing the law and the people's might. He leapt from a dangerous height. His bones cracked, his blood ran out, and he died damning a dangerous man. The sheriff stood by the dead and removed the hat from his head. 2 lives he has claimed today, how many more will he slay? We must stand up before we lay at the feet of the dangerous man. A crowd gathered round to chant and cheer. With torches and knives they came right near the old inn, where it seemed too clear that inside slept a dangerous man. The keeper cried as they threw the torch. He choked back a sob in tears, and watched it burn his life and home. "You must be wrong. I was alone. I couldn't let him stay inside, though it may hurt my pride. I simply fear a dangerous man." A scream was heard from the inn. The creeper shouted, "It's my wife. I thought she left, but she's trapped inside. If you don't help her, I'll end my life, a victim of the dangerous man." "Liar," the people shouted. "You work for him and let him go. Now you want us to burn and die. We will punish you for your lie." They tied him up with ropes and chains and threw him into the flames. He screamed out loud and long as his flesh melted and turned black. Choking, he let out his final words, "I am not a dangerous man." Confusion grew in the street. They had burned the inn to dust, but nothing was gained from the bust. Someone must face the wrath of a people ready to fight. A man was picked, his job to greet the stranger he was first to meet. They chained him to the rock-hard ground and beat him beneath their feet, till all that's left was a bloody mound, all for befriending the dangerous man. The sheriff, too, incurred their wrath. He had failed to halt the path that caused the pain that occurred that day. "You did it too, I'm not to blame," he shouted, but was ignored. Some stood by and fought to death, cursing former friends with last breaths. The sheriff was cut up in bits, an hour he suffered beneath their knives, as he screamed and tried to fight. His head was posted on a spike, a warning to the dangerous man. But in their haste to fix the wrong, the people missed a problem that grew. The flames spread on a wind that blew. The smoke rose and blocked the sun. All the people tried to run, but they burned and choked on smoke, till they were dead, every one, without the help of the dangerous man. The stranger stood, feet in blood, which soaked right through skin and ash. Bodies lay on the ground, mistakes that worked like a plan. He stared at what he found with the black eyes of a dangerous man.